Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Your boy, TheDreadMan, is back with my crew, Flipside and Malta Tom, with the TheDreadMan Sports Podcast. I'm your host. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. Cold over here. I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I'm good. Doing well. So a little bit awkward right now after that Sunday night game between the two of you guys. I don't know how to.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
how to approach it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if I should, get flip flops or I need to control dread. I don't know, man. Yeah, tell me how to handle it.
I was going to get to that in just a second, but right before we get into our recap of last week and our predictions of next week, let's go ahead and look at this NFL playoff picture we got here. Um, it's kind of strange because teams, well, are pretty well. There's a couple things that could change around. We already know who's not going. As of Sunday, let's see, San Francisco, they're eliminated.
Really? What?
Yeah, they're eliminated. Let's see.
Double check the math on that.
Yeah, it's not like they can. Yeah, they're eliminated now. Let's see. Green Bay is eliminated. Green Bay is probably actually my top nominee for choke of the week, but we'll talk about that in a second. Um, there's a couple other teams, and there was a whole bunch of surprises. But wow, I'm actually ashamed of myself for last week because that Dallas New Orleans game surprised the hell out of me. I mean, I believe that this is the most games that I got wrong, minus a couple of the obvious ones like LA, like the Rams in Detroit, and Philly and Washington. I mean, because Washington is down to their third string now. Poor Colt McCoy. And yeah, let's go ahead and discuss that Pittsburgh Steelers Los Angeles Chargers game. The main complaint about that game was the officiating. There was a couple of missed and blown calls. There was a couple of things that were not called. Yeah, there's a couple things that were not called. And the thing is, this really does make the playoff picture. It changes the landscape of the whole playoff picture. I mean, it really does. Because Pittsburgh still holds one of the top four spots in the AFC conference. And the only reason why is just because they're winning the North right now. Now, I did a little bit of research, and turns out if the Steelers lose out, or if they lose the next 3 of their 4 games, then they could potentially lose. They can not make the playoffs altogether. And that loss really hurt. Well, I don't know what hurt us more: the loss to the Chargers, the loss to Denver the week before, or that damn tie at the beginning of the season with the Browns. And to make matters worse, our next 4 games are all losable games. We got to go to Oakland to face the Raiders, and we haven't won a game there in 10 years. We got to face the Patriots and the Saints back to back, and we got our season Yeah, and our season closer is against the Bengals, but we're at home. So yeah, we could potentially miss the playoffs altogether over some BS. Yeah, and the thing is, there's some locker room drama going on in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. There is some drama going on. So, but the thing is, right now, it's not really looking too good for us. But as far as the overall, I mean, the thing is, I mean, this is me being very, very optimistic. If the Steelers win out, we can get that second seed, especially because if we beat the Patriots, we'll have half a game over them, especially since the Patriots already beat the Chiefs earlier this season. So yeah, that'll make things interesting. So we either win out and get the second seed, or we lose out and don't make the playoffs at all. That's pretty much the positions. The thing is, there's also out of the 4 games we have left, 3 of them are conference games. You know, teams that are in our conference: Patriots, Bengals, and Raiders. But I mean, the AFC is shaping up to be more interesting than the NFC. But Flip, what are your thoughts on the game on Sunday, and your thoughts on the overall playoff picture in the AFC?
Um, I agree with you about the officiating. There's definitely some wrong calls. There's definitely some calls that were questionable.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely tell that a lot of Steelers fans were upset with the false start, which I agree that was a terrible call to miss.
Yeah.
The blocking it back, not too mad about that one. I feel like the block was too far away from the play to really matter. All right,
Yeah.
let that one go. There was definitely some. I'm not a fan of pass interference calls. I really hate them because they really mess with the game flow.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the Steelers definitely should have won that game, especially with that wide open pass. I think it was Justin Hunter.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, and here's what. Oh yeah, and dude.
That was in the game.
And that one interception Ben threw, but then again, Ben is good for throwing a pick or two every game, so that's not new. But Phillip Rivers was going for daylight in the end zone, and Joe Hayden was just about to pick him off. He had a clear interception, but Joe Hayden got blown up by Davis, his own man, in the secondary. And guess what? The ball gets popped up into the air, and Keenan Allen just takes advantage of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not mad. But the thing is, I'm not mad at that because if it was me, I'd have done the same damn thing. But it pissed me off so much because, dude, that's one of the plays right there that could have potentially sealed the game for the Steelers. But no, the thing is, a lot of the result of that game was a lot of bad luck, but on the part of the Steelers. The Steelers lost that game. There was a lot of unlucky, just purely coincidental stuff that happened in that game. But oh well. I mean, I'm just ready to take my L and just move the hell on.
Yeah, it was definitely a game where I felt like Pittsburgh had control,
mm-hmm.
and the second half, I don't know what happened. You guys couldn't control the run game. I feel like you guys lost momentum. And 23 unanswered points, I think.
Yeah. But see, here's the problem though. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have not only had the problem this season, but they've actually had this problem for like the past 3 or 4 years. They can't close. Like the thing is, either the Steelers get a sizable lead and then they just run out of gas and they let teams hang around for longer than they should and they end up blowing the game. They can't finish people. They don't like. I mean, if they play every game like they played on Thursday night a couple of weeks ago against the Panthers, they'd be invincible, but they're not. But they're good for a game like that. You know, they're good for like 1 or 2 games like that every season, just like the Falcons game too. But yeah, either they can't finish teams or they start really, really slow and they finish in the clutch, just like the game against the Jaguars. But yeah, either one of those two happen. But Walter Todd, what do you think?
I'm starting to think that Pittsburgh's starting to embrace the choke of the week, man.
Yeah.
Back-to-back weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to. I'm trying to be hard pressed to find a team that's just thrown them this week. I feel like it's been unfortunate play. It's just been kind of a weird debacle. I can't. I mean, that whole special team situation right at the end of the game was pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. They were shooting themselves in the foot. I didn't know what to make of it. I was actually surprised because again, I'm so used to the Chargers. I'm sure Flippin can attest. The Chargers with the special teams gap, and missing a kick, but it actually worked out in their favor. You're right, man. I don't. This Pittsburgh team, I had really, really high hopes for when they were on that long winning streak. You know, after, especially in that game, inclusive with the Panthers and how offensively everything was clicking, and then obviously after Le'Veon was confirmed, they're not going to get him back, and it seemed like they were like settled, and they could move past it and ride with Connor. And then they just had these back-to-back losses, and they're almost like you said, like they're a few games out of the playoffs before when we thought maybe this could be a potential 1 or 2 seed. Now they might not even win the division with Baltimore surging behind them.
Oh yeah,
Baltimore's playing really, really well.
But they got to go against Kansas City next, so.
Yeah, no, Baltimore's got a tough road, but Baltimore also potentially has maybe a kryptonite against Kansas City with their ability to. We'll get into that matchup, but I think Baltimore's ability to run the ball and just hang on to a time possession might help out. But yeah, it's just it was kind of a shit show. But
Mm-hmm.
again, two tough games left on the schedule. That again, I don't know if it's as cutthroat as Pittsburgh winning out or losing out. I mean, I think there's still a little bit of juggling to go around. I mean, I think it's very safe to say that Houston or LA might probably going to get that 3 seed,
Mm-hmm.
if not that 2 seed. Catch up to New England. Houston has a pretty easier schedule than I think the rest of the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think the AFC essentially where it's at is locked up. I think it's going to be probably a toss-up between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I mean, this whole overall week was kind of, this game aside, I'm just going to expound upon the week. This week was very disappointing for teams that I myself was pretty confident in. I'm sure you guys might have been as well. We had a lot of teams that I felt were heavily favored in late A. We had New Orleans on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
You had Green Bay losing to Arizona.
Yeah.
And Josh Rosen going into Lambeau Field and getting a win. And in December, mind you.
Yeah.
You had the Bears losing. You had Carolina losing. You had the Colts getting shut out by Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Cody Kessler and no Leonard Fournette. It was kind of a disappointing week for some of these teams that we were kind of pretty confident in, I felt.
Yeah.
And that he could maybe include them as well, just in terms of how they kind of did that game away. I mean, I thought the game was over.
First half, yeah.
But I don't know, man. But I think the AFC is pretty much set in terms of we're talking about the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a positioning now. I think Baltimore. I think that the second place AFC North team is going to lock up that 6th spot,
Mm-hmm.
and the second place probably the Chargers by default. If they don't catch up to Kansas City, they'll lock up probably the 5th seed.
Yeah.
And then the NFC is more of NFC is a little more dynamic, I think. But,
Yeah.
We can maybe get into that later in this, but yeah, those are my thoughts.
All right. Now, game of the week for last week, guys. Who do you got, Flip?
I'm being a little biased.
Oh boy.
Just because personally, that second half was really intense for me. I got to go with the Chargers just because we showed that we can hang with the AFC guys that people were questioning us about, and yeah, man, I'm a little more excited about this team going to the playoffs. My pick is going to be Chargers.
Yeah. All right, Walter Todd, what about you? What was your game of the week?
My game of the week is actually Chicago, New York Giants. That was actually kind of exciting. There was definitely some exciting plays. Odell throwing a long touchdown. It was actually kind of message. And they had that again. That game went down to the wire. The Bears, the Giants almost were choking. I mean, the Giants almost wanted to give that game away, especially with again letting Chase Daniel and them get down to the goal line and score in the last play. The last play in regulation was pretty sick. It was like a double reverse, and I think Tariq Cohen threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
It was pretty sick. The overall game, and then just the amazing play. Saquon Barkley, man, he's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he is.
Again, he is he's like probably you could argue he might be one of the top running, top 3 or top 4 running backs in the league. Just as a rookie, it's crazy. Just bumped out that 40-yard run in overtime. Just didn't even give Eli a chance to throw a pick six in overtime. So, I would give that surprisingly my game of the week. I was, even though Chicago again was a team that we were kind of confident. I felt pretty confident in playing the rest of the season and being a contender. Granted, they're still missing Trubisky. And maybe they'll obviously perform better once he's back in, but this still made for an exciting game to watch.
Yeah. Believe it or not, my game of the week was Houston and Cleveland. Houston showed us that, I mean, they're probably the most underrated team who has a top seed in the AFC conference right now. They are dangerous. They're a lot more dangerous than people give them credit for. Now, I originally did want to pick them as my team to come out of the South, but I felt safer picking Jacksonville. But Jacksonville's kind of imploding. I don't think, like, even if they do win out, they're pretty much not going to make it. And yeah, they shut out Indy last week, and Indy's kind of, a sleeper team too. But at this point, all Jacksonville can do is just make it harder for all the other teams that already have a top spot. But yeah, my game of the week is Houston and Cleveland. Now, most improved team of the week. It's easily the Dallas Cowboys. Now the thing is, the Dallas Cowboys, they won, but the thing is, they hopefully Pittsburgh and other teams can learn from the Dallas Cowboys win. Did you guys see that time of possession stat? The Dallas Cowboys time of possession was 37 minutes. 37 minutes. The best way to keep Drew Brees, the best way, to stop Drew Brees from lighting you up is to keep the ball out of his hands as long as possible. So yeah, they show massive improvement, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But Flip, what about you?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I was extremely surprised that the Cowboys were. I was definitely giving a lot of some hard time to that pick last week. But yeah, I tell you. Yeah, man, I was really surprised. I knew the Cowboys had potential. Like I was saying, I hadn't seen it yet. I need them to prove it. And I don't know if they did prove that they can definitely hang.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still think they need a better quarterback. That team is definitely trending upward. So yeah, I got to go with the Cowboys.
All right, well, Tom, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cowboys. I want to keep gloating about my pick being right.
Oh yeah. Your Spidey sense was tingling. Last week.
It was. I felt like Cowboys defense is really good. It is one of the best defenses in the league, actually. They're second in, they're like top 5 in overall total defense, and like second in points scored again. And that linebacker that was replacing Sean Lee, was it Nate? I can't remember his name. It's like Leighton Vander Esch, that linebacker.
Yeah, number 55. Yeah, Vander Esch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rookie, man. He's like a ball hawk. He's like on every tackle on the team. And the other linebacker, Lawrence. That defense is just, they're really good. And it's funny because it's still kind of, I think, still with an injured Sean Lee, but you're right. The quarterback situation is not great. I mean, Dak missed he had a wide open touchdown towards the end of the game that would have sealed it. That he missed, he overthrew the guy.
Yeah.
And so the quarterback play is a little shaky, but it's still like if you have a good defense, you have a good running back. As long as you can manage the clock. And again, like you said, time possession that's going to work in their favor to keep it off the field. But the thing is, in my mind, even when Drew Brees was off the field, that defense was just getting that front seven was just getting to him. Mm-hmm. They were throwing short passes and those straight passes to Alvin Kamara. They weren't working against this Dallas team.
Yeah.
They were right on top of it the entire time. They were not busting out any screens for big yards. And Brees was not getting much time. He was getting pressure. It seems like on every play. He kind of probably his 4th game of the year. It was kind of a thinker. I was kind of surprised, even though I had Dallas winning in this game. I thought still that the Saints might perform a little bit better than they did, but Dallas just showed me a lot more. And I think that Dallas is maybe a dark horse because they have a good defense. You got a good running back. So if you just have a quarterback that's minimized mistakes, then you're going to be in every game.
Yeah.
So we'll see going forward. But it does put Dallas, I think, in an interesting position because now you're potentially stuck with Dak now. Mm-hmm. You didn't like Dak. You didn't want Dak to be your franchise quarterback, but he somehow gets you to 11 wins. I mean, you have to extend him. Is Dak worth $100 million? I mean, he might be getting $100 million in the offseason, but do you want to give him $100 million? I don't know.
Yeah, that might be something they want to look at in the off season. But hey, that I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But like I said, bravo for the Dallas Cowboys for locking down Drew Brees and everything. Like I said, they the best they had the perfect strategy, the perfect game plan. Like I said, that time of possession. That time of possession is a very, very tricky stat because it's like, well, we are used to seeing we're used to seeing the Saints put their foot on the gas against a lot of teams. We're used to seeing them start fast and out the gate and don't take the foot off the pedal until that clock strikes zero in the fourth quarter. But like I said, but like you mentioned, Wazatov, like the more you start to see teams win and the victories start to get more and more narrow, you start to see chinks in the armor. And a lot of teams, they look at that. They look at not only how you lost, but they look at how you won. So they can study that film tape and see, hopefully they can succeed where all the other teams failed. But now here we are at the ever present choke of the week. Like I said, my choke of the week personally was the Green Bay Packers losing to the Arizona Cardinals at Lambeau Field. The Cardinals was like, well, we're not going to the playoffs, so Green Bay, we're going to make sure that you don't go either. And to add insult to injury, Mike McCarthy got fired immediately after that game. So, damn, that hurts. Yeah, I know. I wonder who's going to replace him in the next week. But, Flip, what about your choke of the week?
Oh, 100% Green Bay and the Cardinals.
That's a damn shame.
Green Bay, like, you're trying to fight to stay in the playoffs. You're trying to keep your job. You would think, oh, let me game plan my hardest for the Cardinals team. You're at home at Lambeau Field. And you're going up against a rookie quarterback and the team that has a new offensive coordinator. I mean, he's trying to do his best to keep the team afloat. But, I mean, come on. This should have been an easy game for this Packers team. And
yeah.
I think it's clear that there was some turmoil in that team because you don't lose 2017 to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy getting fired, I feel like it was the right time. He needs to go to another team. I think him and Aaron Rodgers' defense is something that you have to move along from.
Mm-hmm.
Give Aaron Rodgers another chance with another another head coach and a new regime and see if he can get to another ring. Because Mike McCarthy's time is up.
Yeah.
It was enough.
All right, Wazatov, your pick for choke of the week.
Yeah, that's definitely a contender. Yeah, it was probably a Packers head coach had his time to go. One Super Bowl win can only kind of secure your job for so long. Just when you continue to underperform with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, quarterback, it's kind of a waste. You can't wait something opportunity to, there's like a once in a lifetime generation quarterback, one of the most talented ever. But
yeah,
I think the interim coach is going to be Philbin, the former Dolphins head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So again, not really much of an upgrade right now. So definitely going to be shopping in off season.
Yeah.
But my choke of the week is definitely Indianapolis. I don't know how you go scoreless in Jacksonville. Again, even though it's the tough Jaguars defense, still like how do you give up? How do you lose to Cody Kessler? How do you lose to a team that does not have Leonard Fournette, their star running back? It was just an underwhelming performance. Andrew Luck didn't play well, just didn't put it together against the team. I was really I thought the Colts would maybe continue to win and potentially push for a playoff spot. Maybe put a little pressure on Houston, but now Houston's got that division essentially wrapped up. Colts are going to start five for that last spot, maybe against Baltimore, but it was just you can't lose that Jags game. The Jags game has already kind of given up this year.
Yeah.
And they're moving on from this season while you're still potentially fighting for a playoff spot. So you got to go in there. You got to get a win. You don't, especially if you don't win it, you get stumped. Even on the road. Yeah, so that's definitely a disappointing performance. That's my show this week.
All right. Now, on to our predictions for Week 14. It's coming down to the wire, fellas. Thursday Night Football, AFC South matchup. Jacksonville Jags at the Tennessee Titans. Flip, who you got? Jags, Titans.
Oh, man. Leonard Fournette is back, so that's a positive for the
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who's playing quarterback for him, so that's still negative.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Titan team seems weird. I think they just had a close game against someone they should have beat pretty easily, I think. Where they're playing the Jets. Yeah, the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Jets. But Mariota is he's kind of. I think he's still battling an injury this year. I think the Jags can shut down Corey Davis pretty easily with Jalen Ramsey. Their defense is probably feeling a little better after shutting out the Colts. The home game for Tennessee, but I'm kind of feeling like the Jags can beat these Titans. Tennessee is kind of susceptible to the run, so they could have a field day. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jags on this one. I'm going to say
at home.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to say Jacksonville wins 17-13. I feel like Mariota's going to have a sneaker in the game.
All right. What's the time who you got? Jags, Titans.
I'm going to disagree with Flip. Just because history has shown that Tennessee really just essentially owns Jacksonville in general. They've had the last couple of years. Mariota, he can have some big games against this team. Granted, with the exception of last year, that's the defensive been against that team, against the Titans. But I think Mariota is starting to click a little bit with Corey Davis. So, I mean, granted, he is going to be basically a lockdown quarterback, but even so, I think Mariota is great enough with his legs to we got a win here. I think Jacksonville, I don't know what they have left to play for. Tennessee still potentially could get that playoff spot. They do have to probably win out, and this is definitely a game that's definitely within reason that they could win and should win that thing. They're at home. Again, Jacksonville, even with Fournette back, I think they're probably still going to rock with, and they're still going with Cody Kessler going forward. So it's just, I'm not going to pick that. Any shaky quarterback with little minimal experience on the road is always it's always kind of dicey when you try to lean on them and take them. Short week. I'm going to go with Tennessee in this game. Give me Tennessee 20, Jacksonville 10.
Now, Jacksonville, they proved that, on the defensive side of the ball, they still got a little bit left in the tank. But at home against Tennessee, you're asking Jacksonville for a lot at home against Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, they've taken a couple of lumps, but they have beaten some top-flight competition this year, especially at home, against New England, against Philly, teams like that. So, yeah, they're hard to count out. And like I said, we don't know the QB situation in Jacksonville, but we know that defense will – well, the defense, they might take a nap or they might just show up in full form. You never know. But it looks like Tennessee's running game is back, is back where it used to be. The defense is solid, and Mariota looks like, he wants to be a contender for that one of those wild card spots that are left in the AFC. I mean, we'll see. They're probably going to have to win out, but we definitely will see. Me personally, I'm going to have to this game might have a median kind of score, but I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Tennessee by 4 points. Yeah, 20-24, Tennessee. Next up, AFC East matchup: New York Jets at Buffalo. Flip, who you got? Bills, Jets.
I think the last time the Bills played them, they destroyed them. So everybody leaning towards the Bills. They just had a heartbreaking loss against the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Charles Clay. Yeah. Oh man, it just seems like this Bills team is looking really solid. Josh Allen is looking like he's kind of getting used to playing in the NFL now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely using his legs more. Um, yeah, man, this Bills team is they're kind of coming into fruition a little bit, and I feel like they definitely can beat this Jets team who is still kind of struggling. They still on a run game. Sam Darnold, I think, is hurt still. I think they're studying Josh McCown or somebody now. Their defense is all right, but yeah, the Bills should have a pretty easy. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I feel like they should win pretty steadily. So I would say Bills win 27, Jets 17.
All right, Walter Todd, who you got? Bills, Jets.
I'm going to go with the Bills in this game. Bills at home. Josh Allen's been coming on strong as of late.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think early on it was a shaky proposition looking at him as potential quarterback, but I mean, again, just with his legs alone, it's been kind of incredible to watch. Like, I mean, it obviously when we talk about mobile quarterbacks, I'm sure people were thinking of, Baker Mayfield, you're thinking of Baltimore, obviously, but it's just
Lamar Jackson. Yeah,
Josh Allen. Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Sorry, name straight obvious, but yeah, Josh Allen just seems like he just like game speed. He's great. Like he just seems to. Again, it's like maybe not the greatest combine numbers, but he just seems to in the middle of the game, in the game, he just runs really well.
Mm-hmm.
And the team is that seems to be kind of like bugging the offense a little bit, even if they're not getting the most out of maybe guys like Boy or even like a Zay Jones. I just think he potentially on the Eagles, like I said, he's not only maybe a little more exciting player to watch on both sides, between both teams, but again, it might be between I think of both offenses, like he kind of strikes me as the more scarier player on both sides. Whether the Jets offense,
mm-hmm.
no one really strikes me as an exciting player or someone that might break out a big play. So I don't know if again, like I'm not sure if we can quarterback situation we're going to count. I'm gonna go with Bills primarily because they've already beaten this team. They laid 21 on them. That was with Matt Barkley. They didn't even have Josh Allen in that game. I think this team can definitely get another win. Maybe not as much of a blowout, but I think they still should. Give me the Bills in this game. I'll say Bills 24. I'll say Jets 17.
All right. Now it's obvious that neither one of these guys are really going to make the playoffs. Especially, I mean, come on, look at the division they're in. The NFC East. I mean, the AFC East, which is the Patriots have pretty much ran that division for the past decade. But I mean, hey, they can still give us a hell of a game because both defenses are, pretty damn good. But I mean, yeah, you guys are right about Josh Allen. Josh Allen seems like he wants to have a match lit into his ass. It seems like he wants to start throwing bombs out there. And Buffalo's running game is always solid. I mean, even against a defense like the Jets. But the Jets last time didn't have an answer for it, and I don't see that changing. I don't see that changing this game either. Now, as far as the Jets, as far as what they can do to win this game is to keep Josh Allen on his ass. Don't let him score. They need to have a grinded out kind of game. If they need to watch any game, they either need to turn this game into the Jacksonville Colts game or the New Orleans Cowboys game. That's what they need to do. They need to, be monstrous defensively. they need to make sure that Buffalo does not score at all. Keep them under 10 points or make sure you shut them out. That's bottom line. But the thing is, I don't really see that happening. Go on ahead and give me the Bills in this game 17-26. All right, next game. Ooh, NFC East matchup. New York Giants against the Washington Redskins, who are down to their third string quarterback, Mark Sanchez. Flip, who you got? Giants, Redskins.
This game was set for the Giants. They definitely need to tank to get them need to get spots to get a pick upcoming draft. But come on, can you really lose to the Redskins at this point?
But surprisingly, they're still in the hunt.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
They got to win out.
Yeah, I don't see them winning out. I mean, I guess if you're still in the hunt, you still play. But
yeah.
But yeah, man, you lose two quarterbacks to leg injuries. Mark Sanchez is your new quarterback, handing balls off to Adrian Peterson for 90 yards somehow. Yeah, I mean, I think this Redskins team is kind of they're done.
Yeah.
As we saw it, even after that Adrian Peterson run, he's got locked down for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Giants defense has been playing pretty well lately. I think their offense is clicking a little bit more now. They're kind of getting back into rhythm. This should be a pretty easy game for the Giants, man. I'd be really surprised if Mark Sanchez goes up there and battles it out against somebody.
Yeah.
I want to go with the Giants win this 27, Redskins 30.
All right. Walter Todd, who you got? Giants, Skins.
Yeah, I got the Giants all the way in this game. Especially if Mark Sanchez is involved in any sort of fashion. I don't care if he's playing quarterback. I don't care if he's a football. I don't care if he's the water boy. Mark Sanchez is involved in any sort of situation with football. I'm going to bet on the other team.
Yeah.
Especially when the other team's got weapons like OBJ and Shepard and Saquon. I'm going to go with that team. I think the Giants, you're right. They would be better than tank. But I think getting this offense clicking a little more might bode well better. Hopefully, maybe if they can show, like I said, if Eli can show a little bit in these last 4 or 5 odd games. They might. Again, there's not really a high caliber quarterback potentially coming out this next draft. So maybe Giants fans, maybe they would hang on to Eli for just another year. And if he looks good in his last few games, it might not be a bad idea. So, but yeah, I think the Giants still play hard. I think the Redskins, even though they're still an outside chance, I just think the injuries that have on that team, I don't think they're going to come back from it. I like the weapons of the Giants. Again, like Flip said, defense is playing better as of late. Saquon's been on a pretty good roll these last 3 games. I think that he's rushed for 100 yards the last 3 games. I think that continues against the Redskins. I don't think Peterson is enough for the Redskins and then give me the Giants. The Giants win this pretty handily. I'll say 27-17 Giants.
Not too far off of what my pick is. Now, like I said, it's the Redskins looked like they were actually going to clinch the NFC East. Right before the Dallas Cowboys snuck up on them, and then they had those 2 injuries. Now they're on their last leg, no pun intended. And the New York Giants, they looking like they actually want to play again because Eli, people thought that his heart was gone, but Saquon and Odell are the only thing that's still pumping some kind of life into the Giants. And Giants secondary are actually looking like they want to play to win again. Shout out to Janoris Jenkins. The thing is, just because even if Mark Sanchez is the quarterback, Washington is at home, so this game might be just a little bit closer than you guys might think it is. But go ahead and give me the New York Giants in this game, 20-27. So yeah, I got the Giants by a touchdown. Next up, NFC South matchup. New Orleans Saints at Tampa Bay. Flip, who you got? Saints Bucks.
Oh man, Saints, pretty much. But I don't know, man. Maybe the Bucks have an amazing defense too, and they can hold the field for a long time and
Oh boy.
ball out of Drew Brees' hands and win this game for him. Surprisingly enough, the Bucks have 5 wins. They still make the playoffs. The Bucks still can actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, but a lot of crazy ass crap has to happen for them to actually clinch fifth or sixth seed.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But the Saints are definitely they're definitely going to win this game. They're definitely still fighting for a home field advantage in the NFC.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they're close to clinching their division. Yeah, man. I feel like the Cowboys caught them off guard. They weren't expecting the Cowboys to be as good, I'm guessing. That's not going to do that. I could see the Saints taking no chances and running the score up on this one. They're in a close match with the Rams for home field advantage now. Yeah, Saints should win this one pretty easily. I want to say Saints 34, Bucks 20.
All right. Walter, who you got? Saints Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's interesting to note this Bucks team has already beaten the Saints this year.
Yeah.
Shocked them with week 1 with the Ryan Fitzpatrick during the Fitzpatrick run. So the Saints team has been exposed. Their defense has been exposed against this Bucks team. However, this is a different Bucks team now as we know it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're now at the helm of Jameis Winston. There's obviously Deshaun Jackson's out. The running back situation is still not really great as it was earlier in the year. And this is a Saints team that is coming off an embarrassing loss. I don't think the Saints are going to have 2 back-to-back stingers. Drew Brees' MVP bid probably already took a hit, and I don't know if he's going to be able to rebound now. I think Patrick Mahomes is kind of in the running now. Basically, his to walk away with. So I think the Saints come out, and I think they lay the smackdown. I think they get revenge on that loss they had at home.
Oh yeah.
Tampa's not too much of it. Tampa's not really really too bad of a home field to stay in. Unless the weather is pretty sloppy or rainy, I think the Saints will run away with this. Give me the Saints in a big blowout. I think I'll say Saints 35, Bucks 17.
Now you were right about this not being the same Bucks team as at the beginning of the season, and you can say the same thing about the Saints. The Saints are not the same team as they were at the beginning of the season. The Saints are now a very, very dangerous team. I guess you could say the Super Bowl on the NFC side either goes through New Orleans or it goes through LA. But yeah, I mean, just because the Bucks are at home and wait a minute, are the Bucks at home?
The Bucks are at home.
Yeah, they could give the Saints a fight, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, even though the Saints did just lose in an away game to Dallas, you can't really put Dallas on the same level as the Bucks, especially at this point in the season, because the Bucks aren't really playing for that much. I mean, if they were to make the playoffs, it'd be a damn miracle. Hopefully Drew Brees has his legs back up under him, and Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, they get to start clicking again. I mean, Jameis Winston, I don't know if he's going to be. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with them, because when New Orleans puts their foot on the gas, they put their foot on the gas, and then they're going to have to play catch up. And I don't know if Jameis Winston has got enough weapons around him to do that. So go on ahead and give me the New Orleans Saints in this game, 31-21 over the Bucks. Next up, we got another AFC East matchup. The New England Patriots on the road against the Miami Dolphins. Now, this is weird. Whenever Miami faces New England at home, there always seems to be New England's kryptonite for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's just funny. It seems like that whenever Tom Brady steps into Miami, that's his weakness. Um, the thing is, it really is a hard game to call. Normally, people be like, "Oh man, it's a no-brainer because Miami doesn't really have anybody." You think that, but we've seen Miami do a lot with a little. And I mean, New England in that first half against the Saints. I mean, not the Saints, but against the Vikings last week. I mean, the Vikings were hanging with them right up until the fourth quarter. So yeah, and if they can play defense anything like if the Dolphins play defense anything like the Vikings in the first half, it might be more competitive than people give it credit for. But even with that in mind, I am gonna have to be. I mean, a Miami Dolphins win would not surprise me, but just on the safe side, I'm gonna pick New England by 9 points in this game. But Flip, what about you? Patriots Dolphins.
I think New England has Miami number this time. I think the last time they played, Ryan Tannehill threw for like 100 yards, and, somehow 3 touchdowns, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems like a favorable game for the Patriots. Like you were saying, the Dolphins do have their numbers sometimes. I don't feel like this is one of those weeks. I think they're coming back from injuries. I feel like they have Monte Parker back. They might have Danny Amendola back.
Yeah.
Kenny Stills will be back. The Dolphins have their weapons. I feel like the Patriots are kind of in that we need to make a statement mode. They just got rid of the Chiefs running back through TMZ. So they're kind of primed for getting that, for at least running for that home field advantage in the AFC. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots here and say they pull this one out and win 27-14.
All right, Muzzle time. Who you got? Patriots or Dolphins?
Yeah, Brady usually is always like almost always due for a random stinker in Miami every year.
Yeah.
They always do to kind of split those games for whatever reason. And it always just seems to be bewildering. It never ever makes sense, but it just happens because it's not playing well. However, I think this game was closer than it was. They blew them out earlier in the season. But I don't know, the Patriots team, even despite being 9-3, I don't like the look of them. They don't strike me as a team. It's just a shame because again, the AFC really realistically is kind of a grab. I mean, if you were a Pittsburgh fan, obviously you're a Chargers fan. I feel like the teams like that look pretty dominant overall this season, like Kansas City, obviously now is a much weaker. It's definitely a different team than they were a week ago. Patriots again, despite getting these wins, they still. I mean, Gronk still doesn't really look like Gronk. That defense isn't like ironclad Bill Belichick defense, and it's just Brady's just still like even 41 years old. He looks like he's lost a little bit of a step. I don't think what he did cover up the hole. So I think the AFC could have been up for grabs, but it's just like every other team. No one wants to take it from the Patriots. No one really wants to step up. I mean, maybe the Chargers, maybe Pittsburgh turns it around, but right now the Patriots don't look like they're like might be able to cakewalk again to the AFC. Or we'll see. In this game, I'll go with traditional. Tradition typically, I'm going to leave Patriots. I can't find it in my heart to bet against them yet. I think we got to win. I think it's a tough win, but I think if they catch the break, give me Patriots in this game. I'll say Patriots 20, I'm sorry, Patriots 23, Dolphins 20.
All right. Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens going on the road at Arrowhead Stadium against the Kansas City Chiefs. Flip, who you got? Ravens, Chiefs.
Oh man, after watching the Raiders put up, I think 33 points on them, I'm pretty much skeptical of the Chiefs right now. I feel like the high-powered offense that is the Chiefs is still obviously there. They put up 40 against the Raiders. I feel like losing Hunt was a big blow.
Yeah.
He's definitely a three-down back. I don't think Spencer Ware is that three-down back that they want. They're already talking about running committees, so I feel like when you think about committee, you think about a backfield that can be kind of read easier. Tyreek Hill, it seems like every week now they're putting triple coverage on him and no one else is kind of stepping up.
Yeah.
Conley has been stepping up lately, so props to him. Travis Kelce is obviously Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
But I feel like this Ravens team is I feel like they have those defensive pieces. You know, they got Jimmy Smith, and I feel like they scheme really well for their opponents. And this Lamar Jackson and Trevor's in the backfield with them. It doesn't really matter at this point. They're just running that option and works really well. So I feel like that could also hurt the Chiefs because the Ravens look like they can definitely exploit the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense isn't like anything special. We've seen over the last few weeks. So we could definitely see the Ravens hogging the possession on the field. Patrick Mahomes, he's still doing his thing, but he's definitely looking like he can throw a pick or two, and that could be a killer now against this Ravens team.
Yeah.
Definitely hungry and trying to get into this playoff spot. They see that the Steelers just dropped a major game, so I could definitely see the Ravens coming in this one. Definitely game planning like crazy. So I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens in this one, even though they're on the road. I'm looking at that Hunt missing piece there, and I'm just like, Lamar Jackson could exploit this defense. Could see the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is sitting on that bench for a long time, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens this one, 28-24.
Okay. All right. Walter Top, who you got? You got the Ravens or you got the Chiefs?
Yeah, I'm a little upset. Flip kind of pick one up that day. I'm also picking the Ravens in this game. I think that this is probably going to be the best defense that Mahomes goes up against this year. They are at home. Again, it makes it a little more difficult because at Arrowhead it's definitely tough to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, it could affect it being difficult for Lamar Jackson. But as a quarterback who they kind of just designed his plays for and try to utilize his running abilities, I think they can minimize the pressure he'll deal with. And again, they just are really turning into this old school just team that just runs the ball constantly, runs, and then focuses on defense. And it's definitely a successful formula, especially as we get into the winter season and starts getting colder and colder. Definitely see teams fall on that. The whole situation with the running back situation in Kansas City definitely affected him. I'm not especially where when he was a backup, he performed really well, but I don't know if he didn't really show as much as the main feature in this last week game. So you're right, I think they're going to fall back on committee. And I don't know if putting all the pressure on Mahomes now to run that offense and throw is going to be the best thing. Obviously, I think you had to rank them. I think you still might put Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce as the more important players again, we saw a guy like Kelsey light it up at a monster game last week. I think the tight end will definitely fall on that security blanket role. Once when you lose a running back like 3 months, I think that kind of basically is your next step. Is those passes to Travis Kelsey, one of the best tight ends in the league. I think that's definitely a security blanket. But yeah, in this game, I think Baltimore they just keep the Chiefs off the field for a long ass time. I think if they can get the time of possession, as you were talking about TheDreadMan in the other earlier example with the Cowboys and the Saints, they can hold on to the ball for 38, 42 minutes in that range, at least around that 40-minute range. Give the Chiefs maybe 20 minutes, only 20 minutes. I think even as high powered as that offense is, I think they can win. I don't think they can score enough. I don't think they can score, 4 touchdowns, 3. I think they'll need at least probably 20. I think the Ravens, they can hold on to the ball about 40 minutes, and do long drives and score like 21 to 27 points. I think they can keep the Chiefs below 20. Give me Baltimore in this game in an upset. I'll say Baltimore 27, Chiefs 21.
Now, as a Steelers game, I find this to be quite the predicament, because the Steelers are the Ravens and the Steelers are in the same division, AFC North, and the Chiefs beat us earlier this season. So it would let's see. The thing is, what would benefit the Steelers more? Would the Steelers benefit more from a Chiefs win or more from a Ravens win? I think they might benefit a little bit more from a Chiefs win, but we'll see about that. But I mean, just to kind of allude to what you guys said, time of possession is going to be a key factor in this game. I mean, because yeah, you guys are right. Patrick Mahomes lately, as much firepower as the kid brings to the table, he has shown some chinks in his armor. I mean, especially when it comes to certain defenses. And the Ravens, the thing is, they're notorious for being a tough defense. They've always been hard when they on the other side of the ball. And Lamar Jackson, he's starting to look like Michael Vick out there. But the thing is, like, the more you play like that, the more the defenses are going to start to figure you out. I mean, so it's not always a good thing for you to be a scrambling type of running back. I mean, a scrambling type of quarterback, because coaches and defense coordinators, they're gonna look at that. They're gonna try to key in on you. And I don't think Joe Flacco's coming back anytime soon. Well, he'll probably be back in the next week or two, but I don't even think it'll matter. I think they might be moving on from him next season anyway. But even with Kareem Hunt, with his domestic violence situation, him not coming back at all this year, I still think that they have a lot in the Chiefs have a lot in the tank to pretty much to seal this game. I mean, I think it's going to be a good competitive back and forth game, even though this is an Arrowhead. But I just feel that the Chiefs are the safer pick in this game. So go ahead and give me the Chiefs 31-23 over the Ravens. Next game, we got the Indianapolis Colts going on the road against the Houston Texans. Woo! Now, they got shut out last week against Jacksonville, and Houston, they are red hot right now. Hopefully, I mean, the thing is, Houston's defense, I don't want to say it's not as good as Jacksonville, because hell, on a good day they are, especially at home. But I mean, Indianapolis, like the one thing, they got their running game completely stuffed, and they were at Andrew Luck's grill for all 60 minutes. Now, you can argue that Jacksonville doesn't really have a steady quarterback. And the whole Leonard Fournette situation. Even with those things, they still managed to scrape out a win against Indianapolis last week. And Houston, they are on fire right now. So I mean, because as expected, DeAndre Hopkins is he's playing out of this freaking world. He's the top 3 wide receivers in the league right now. Hell, you could argue even number 1 on a good day. And Deshaun Watson, he might have his little slips and stumbles every now and then, but the guy's solid. I mean, he's the real deal. You can't argue with that. And like I said, Houston's at home in this game. So going ahead and give me Houston in this game, 21-28. Flip, who you got? Colts, Texans.
I feel like this is that game where Texans kind of make their move and clinch the division for good this time. I mean, it's probably not clinched statistically, but I feel like if they win this game, they should clinch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Colts, I don't know, man. I thought they had a pretty easy game against Jacksonville since everyone else was kind of running through them.
Yeah.
That was wrong. This Texas defense was crazy. I think they're on like a 9-win streak now.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like Demarius Thomas is getting used to offense more. D-Hop is D-Hop. Deshaun Watson is he's looking healthier now. I think he was just kind of injury ridden for a few weeks back. Lamar Miller is actually running the ball really well now, so that's helping their offense out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're clicking on all cylinders, man, offense and defense. I feel like this team is definitely a Super Bowl contender. We saw them a few years back against the Patriots. They gave them a run for their money. I think it was the first run of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this Texans team is. I think they're on the roll. I feel like they can't be stopped right now. Definitely not by the Colts. I got the Texans winning this one. I'm gonna say 28-23.
All right. Positive, who you got? Colts, Texans.
Yeah, Colts were really, really disappointing last week. I think their performance against Jacksonville kind of persuaded me a little bit. If they would have had a pretty solid performance, one that came pretty handily, which would potentially be a good game of the week. But fortunately, they live next. Texans have continued to look really phenomenal. I think part of that has been just obviously the improved play of Deshaun Watson, and then also the improvement in Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller's been there a couple of years, but he can kind of be like his breakout year with them. It seems like having stuff here in Texas at least. Again, that pass rush is going to make a living hell for Andrew Luck. Granted, this was a little bit of a shootout when they played earlier in the year. I think this will still be a little bit high scoring. I think the Texans defense can kind of can be exposed and not locked down like some of the other ones like the Ravens. But I think I'm not sure if that stinker against Jacksonville was kind of a sign of the Colts starting to fade, or if it was just a blip in just a kind of a fluke and a speed bump in their season. So I'm gonna give the edge to the Texans just because overall I just think they have more weapons, more ways they can beat you. Meanwhile, I think there's a lot of pressure on Andrew Luck, and I don't think he is going to be able to overcome Deshaun Watson, D-Hop, and Lamar Miller. So I'm going to go with the Texans in this game. The Texans 30, Colts 24.
All righty. Now we have an NFC rematch between the Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. Now I would be more excited for this if both teams weren't already in jeopardy of this seasons being in jeopardy. More so Atlanta than Green Bay, because Green Bay's pretty much already out of the door. But Atlanta, I mean, they've been underwhelming for the past couple of weeks. I mean, come on, they got beat by the Ravens. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, and Green Bay just choked the game away against the Arizona Cardinals. I don't really know how much more both these guys have to give. But Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's a gunslinger through and through. I mean, win, lose, or draw, I mean, that guy will always give you a fight. But it's just that Green Bay's not showing anything else because their receiving core is damaged, their secondary is not as good as it used to be, and Atlanta's pretty much having the same problems. Pretty much the only thing that's saving them is their running game. Julio has been all but locked down this entire year. Teams are starting to really key in on him. But if I had to pick someone, I mean, even though it's at Lambeau Field, I mean, but come on. I mean, if if Arizona could take care of business at Lambeau Field against Green Bay, I don't see why Atlanta couldn't. But still, I mean, this is tough. But go ahead and give me. I mean, I might regret this, but go ahead and give me Green Bay by 3 points, 21-24 over at the Falcons. Flip, who you got? Falcons, Packers.
Oh man, I thought it's gonna be close to a shootout game. I feel like Aaron Rodgers has to kind of show the Packers fan base, hey, Mike McCarthy's gone. I'm gonna be happy. Let me show you what's to come in the future. He's got to prove that he can be a great quarterback without McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like people were speculating like how Belichick and Brady are.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like this is a game where Aaron Rodgers has to show out. Will show out. I feel like Matt Ryan is going to show out. The Packers defense isn't amazing, but they can get to the quarterback. So that could be a thing too. Yeah, if you're saying, Dredd, both teams are kind of struggling with their offense. It feels weird because you have Julio Jones on the Falcons, and he's having a career year. It's just, I don't know. But I definitely feel like this should be a shootout. If not, I feel like the Packers will pull ahead with it. So I'm going with the Packers winning this 27-23.
All right, and Mozatov, who you got? Packers, Falcons.
Yeah, this is kind of a matchup of disappointing NFC teams, teams that we might have had higher hopes for at the beginning of the year. This was the NFC Championship, but not 2 years ago, and now both teams have kind of fallen off, become a little bit irrelevant this year. The Ravens, so to speak, the Falcons, I should say, I'll get my birds and stuff here. The Falcons, I would say overall better weapons with receivers. I'd give the edge maybe slight edge to the Packers with running back, quarterback. Defense, maybe slightly Falcons. What I'm curious to see, of course, is just Aaron Rodgers and how he performs after the coach is fired. I think that'll be very telling. If he comes out and has a monster game, throws for 350 or 400 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, I think that'll be a kind of a statement. I think he'll definitely kind of in his own way kind of tell us how he felt about the firing. I think he looked a little bit like really not invested these last couple of weeks. Felt like I think the Packers' performance definitely kind of showed that. I think that the coach firing, I think it will light a little fire in his belly. I expect him to actually play really well. I think maybe it was a coaching situation. I think he was kind of tired of McCarthy after a certain time. And I think maybe the firing will liberate him, and he'll come on and have a hell of a game, and he'll reinvigorate this offense. So I'm gonna go with the Packers. I think that's what's gonna happen in this game. I'm gonna go Green Bay. Give me the front edge. I'll go Green Bay 27. Give me the Falcons 20.
All righty. Next up, we got the Carolina Panthers going on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Flip, who you got? Browns or Carolina?
Man, Cleveland had a pretty bad game against Texans. I think the Texans defense was kind of gave Baker his run money. I don't think the Panthers have that kind of defense to stop Baker. They just lost to the Bucks somehow. This Browns defense is actually pretty scary. They're playing at home. Cleveland at home is actually a pretty strong team. I feel like Baker can play really well at home. Nick Chubb is having a really good rookie season. I don't know who's stepping up on that receiving end, but they're doing their job, I guess. Jarvis Landry was kind of slacking for a while there. Callaway, Njoku. Baker has weapons. I feel like he can make plays against the Panthers team. Um, it's going to be a weird game. I feel like I think Cam's going through a shoulder injury right now, so that could affect them.
They still got that running game to rely on, though. Christian McCaffrey. So.
Yeah, McCaffrey's having a really good season.
Hell yeah.
I think he's on pace to be the first player to have 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty impressive. So they made it rely on him this entire game. I just feel like the Browns are going to edge it out. I feel like it's going to be one of those games where it's back and forth. Someone have a turnover. It looks like they're going to get ahead, and then the other team has a turnover, and it's back to a close game, and it's won by a field goal. So I'm going to edge it to the Browns in this game. I'm going to say Browns beat Panthers 24-20.
All right. What's the time for you got? Panthers, Browns.
Panthers have not been good on the road this year. The Panthers have been very also disappointing last like 4 or 5 weeks. The Browns, meanwhile, it's been surprising. That looked so good last week, but they got a lot of turnovers. I think they kind of cleaned it up this week. I do see ways that they can expose the Panthers. Landry had a pretty soft game last week, and I expect Nick Chubb to run well against this Panthers defense. But I might. I'm gonna change my pick. I was going to go with Clifton Brown, but the Panthers I think are gonna keep this. I think they're gonna edge this one out just based on the sheer force of McCaffrey. He's been having an incredible year.
Yeah.
The Browns do give up a lot on the ground. They do give up a lot on the ground, and McCaffrey could have a monster game. This Browns team can be susceptible to giving up a lot of points to good offenses. Now, I'm not going to compare the Panthers offense to teams like Steelers and the Chiefs, but
yeah,
they got like that Swiss Army knife and Christian McCaffrey, and I think you're going to have a monster game. Despite being on the road, I think the Panthers squeak this one out. Give me the Panthers in this game. I'll say Panthers 26, Browns 23.
All right. This actually, I mean, with the way that Cleveland's been playing, this actually has the potential to be one of the games of the week. Now, Carolina has not looked so good in their last 3 or 4 games, pretty much just throwing away games in the fourth quarter. That's something that you can't do against Cleveland because Cleveland is a team that'll hang in there and they can hurt you in the long run too. This game is going to be a battle of running backs, though. It's going to be McCaffrey versus Chubb, and whoever dominates the running game the most on the grounds is going to win, which means both defenses are going to have to step up. And I think at this point, Cleveland actually might have a slightly better defense than Carolina. Well, at least when it comes to their front seven. And Baker Mayfield, I don't think he's going to be scared to air the ball out against them. But, you never know. It might be just maybe on the safe side. He might, because the thing is, he can't throw the ball 40 times a game. He's gonna have to spread the ball around averagely, and he's gonna have to have there's gonna have to be a perfect balance of running and passing game. So yeah, in Carolina, I think they're gonna be just slightly more hungry because they know that they're still in the hunt. And they can still clinch one of those 5th or 6th seed spots in the NFC. So, yeah, they might just be a little bit more Motivated. And Cam has battled through injury before, so in this game should be no different. Go ahead and give me the Panthers in this game. 28-21. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. Flip, who you got? Broncos, Niners.
I just want to say I'm sorry, again. Probably gonna have to bet against your team.
Mm-hmm.
That sponsorship was different. So far, it's very fair this season. The Niners have been terrible. The Nick Mullins roller coaster is come to a crash. We're just getting ready for next season, and Garoppolo's return, and obviously Jared McKinnon's return. So this season right now, it's just about getting draft positioning, man. Draft positioning, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's really understandable.
Yeah.
The Broncos team is pretty surprising, man. They're pretty good. I think their pass rush is doing really well with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. They lost Chris Harris Jr., so that could hurt them a little bit. I think their offense is looking really well too. Case Keenum is getting the ball to Emmanuel Sanders and Cortland Sutton. Philip Lindsay is having an amazing year. He's a candidate for rookie of the year. The Broncos just have an overall team. They're kind of a sleeper. Can't really count them out of. I don't think they're getting a playoff spot, but next year they could be a really deadly team once they figure everything out. But I'm gonna have to go with the 49ers in this game.
Oh, really?
What? No, I'm going with the 49ers in this game, and I'm going to tell you why. I feel like Nick Mullins can dump the ball off to George Kittle pretty well. And, get the heat off him and pass rush. They're not going to have Matt Breida out there, but they have Jeff Wilson out there. I feel like he can carry the run game pretty well. And the reason why I'm having hope in this 49ers team is to get Marquise Goodwin back this week, and they have a really good receiver in Dante Pettis, and I feel like they could move him around the field. He's been killing it for them the last few weeks, and I feel like this might be an upset game for the 49ers. Chris Harris Jr. is the reason why I'm saying this, because I feel like he's kind of been that anchor for him in the secondary. And with them out, I think Nick Mullins can pass on his team. So I'm going to say 49ers win this game 27-20.
All right, Walter, what about you? Broncos, Niners.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but as much as fantasy today, I got this spirit. I don't see it with this team. Even with that it was coming back, and obviously the secondary injury to Chris Harris on the Broncos side, I just don't see it, because the Broncos, I think they just have better skill position players right now as it stands. I mean, I love obviously had a couple good weeks, played really, really well last week. Great rookie, but the Broncos also have a pretty solid rookie in Philip Lindsay. Arguably, is arguably making his case for offensive rookie of the year. I think he'll be one of the probably first undrafted skill position Pro Bowl players potentially as a late meeting. It's a remarkable story, and I think he doesn't have to do too much to beat the Niners team. The Niners team, defense, we can get scored on pretty handily. You can run on us. You don't have to throw too much on us. This team, we don't have enough offensive firepower consistently to keep us in a good field position. I think we struggle getting into team red zone. We struggle getting onto that side of the ball. Too many 3 and outs. We just can't get good field position. The Broncos will probably be close to our side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Our side of the field. They don't have to do too much to get in our territory. And even on the road, I think the Broncos, I think they're going to win this game. The Broncos, again, they're one of the teams that they potential to make the playoffs. They have a pretty easy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They could squeak it out, and I think this is definitely a winnable game for them, and they should win it. I'm going to rely on Philip Lindsay continuing his terrific season. So give me the Broncos in this game. I will say Broncos 24, Niners 14.
Now, the Broncos, it's a long shot for them to make the playoffs in that AFC conference. And the 49ers, let's be real, they're not really playing for anything except for a better draft pick. And the thing is, I don't think that the Niners at this point have the weapons to contend with to contend with the defense, more specifically the secondary of the Denver Broncos. And Case Keenum has shown that he's solid, especially when he can hold on to the ball. And in the past couple of games, Denver's running game hasn't really looked too bad either. I don't know if that's just I don't know if that's just them waking up or if that's just the defense, their run stopping playing bad. And I don't know. The thing is, as much possible potential as the 49ers have had, like I said, I don't see where they can. I mean, I don't see where they can actually win this game, or they can make it close because they made it close against teams they weren't supposed to earlier in the season, a la the Packers. But we know what's going on with them. Shoot, go. But I mean, I got this actually being a little bit close. Go ahead and give me give me Denver only by 6 points in this game, 2 field goals. So we'll go ahead and say 21-27 Broncos. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals going on the road against the LA Chargers. Flip, who you got? Bengals, Chargers.
There's no such thing as a road game against the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, the Bengals is terrible right now. They're in a really terrible place. No Andy Dalton, AJ Green just had to go through surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Mixon's still there at least.
Yeah, he is.
They have Jeff Driscoll and Tyler Boyd. It's just, the Bengals, they're too hurt right now.
Yeah.
It just hurts to watch that team because they have the potential to make the playoffs this year. Do you guys think Marvin Lewis gets fired this year?
Nah, they'll find some way to keep him.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis has way too much to blame. Like, he has a bunch of injuries. I don't see them letting him go. Like, it's like they literally talked him back into coming back, right? Like Marvin Lewis, they dragged him back into the year. I don't think they'd let him go. I think they give him another shot. They try to bring the whole band back together.
Mm-hmm.
Another year of Mixon, and a healthy, AJ and hopefully a healthy Andy Dalton. Maybe they make some noise. So it's a little different, but I don't think Marvin Lewis do the job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this should be a Chargers game. If Melvin's back this week, I'm gonna say the Chargers win this game 28-14. If not back this week, I'm gonna say they win 24-7.
All right. What's the time? Who you got? Bengals, Chargers.
I mean, I don't know. Justin Jackson going with you guys. I mean, I think he's still maybe potentially blow this team out regardless without Melvin. I just don't think there's really anything Cincinnati can do to hurt you, or the Chargers at this point. It's just this is game very, very easy to pick. Chargers at least by double digits. They're buying for potential. They could potentially get a first round buy if they play the cards right. I think they pick their way. Give me the Chargers in this. I'll say Chargers 27. Bengals 13.
Yeah, the Bengals are pretty damn crippled this year. I mean, and the only thing that really saves the Bengals is their defense. And the thing is, the longer the defense stays on the field, the more tired they get. And that's the more tired they get, the more susceptible they are to getting carved up in the third and fourth quarters. And San Diego, I mean, minus all the the extra stuff, they still managed to pull out the win against Pittsburgh, and they're at home this week. And I know Flippy said it doesn't really matter because they find a way to even lose at home. But I mean, at this point, the Bengals are not better than the Pittsburgh Steelers are. So I mean, what's to really stop the Bengals from losing? At this point, the only way that the Chargers can lose this game is if they beat themselves. So go ahead and give me the Chargers by 9 points in this game. Next up, we got.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
The Chargers do start off slow, and that has been a bad thing for us. And Joe Mixon could run all over it. So those are kind of the skeptical things.
But the thing is, you can't be one-dimensional when you play against the Chargers. You can't just rely on one thing when you play against them, especially at home.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, Tyler Boyd and John Ross can still make some plays.
Yeah.
Not counting the Bengals out, but I still have Chargers.
All right. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions going on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Flip, who you got? Cardinals, Lions.
Yeah, it should be a Lions game. They have been struggling though. And the Cardinals, I don't know, man, they could beat the Packers. Who knows? It's a home game for the Lions.
No. Lions are on the road.
Home game for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Lions are on the road.
Man. This might be an upset game. Patrick Peterson can definitely lock down Kenny Galladay. They have no Marvin Jones still. I think he's out for the season. Since Ellington, I mean, he's all right, but he can't make a big plays they need. Kerryon Johnson might still be out, so they're still going to have to hope this is a LeGarrette Blount runs all over the Cardinals kind of game. Stafford can get killed by the pass rush. I mean, Chandler Jones is kind of a scary lineman. So, man, this might actually be a Cardinals game.
Wow.
I'm going to put the Cardinals on the side. I think Cardinals win 23-20. Just do a field goal, just like the Packers.
Wow. All right. Kind of bold, but I mean, hey, I'll take it. What's the time? Who you got? Lions, Cards.
Yeah, I don't agree with Flip on this. I'm going with the feeling right now. I think the Cardinals have a little bit. They seem a little bit more motivated. They seem to be playing with a little more pizzazz. I'll say. The Lions seem a little lackluster. They just seem a little disheartened. I don't get a good feel for them. I think there's more weapons on Arizona at this point in the season than there are this Detroit Lions. There are also a lot of better defensive players still on Arizona versus Detroit. Both with Chandler Jones, Patrick Peterson, I mentioned a few. Yeah, they're at home. I do like the Cardinals in an upset here as well. Give me the Cardinals in this. I think Cardinals 20, Detroit 17.
Now the Lions are a team with no real identity. You never know which Lions are going to show up. Are the Lions who are going to beat the Patriots show up, or are the Lions who lost to the Bears going to show up? Oh man, it's difficult because Matt Stafford. The thing is, I don't know what it is because Matt Stafford, he's great and everything. He's got a hell of an arm, but I don't know what it is. He just can't get over the hump. And Arizona, they squeaked out a couple of wins this year against teams who they shouldn't have won against. But that's not enough to convince me that they're going to beat Detroit, even if they are at home. I mean, they got some weapons, but the thing is, like the quarterback, I mean, he's still too green. He's still too inexperienced. And hell, the only thing that'll save them against Detroit is if Detroit just completely wets the bed, turns the ball over 3 or 4 times, and gets them in good field position, or if Larry Fitzgerald has one last hurrah and just lights them up. But I just feel safer picking Detroit in this game by 7 points. Yeah, give me Detroit by a touchdown in this game. 21-28, Detroit. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road against the Oakland Raiders. Now, if you guys remember what I said about Pittsburgh not winning in Oakland in the past decade, that's a stat that you definitely have to look at. In Pittsburgh, they're not really that good on the road. But hell, I was watching ESPN earlier this morning. I was watching one of the shows, and I believe it was either Jason Whitlock or Ryan Clark, or one of them that said that the Steelers. I mean, as much talent as they have, there's no reason why they shouldn't be in the top two seeds. But the Steelers, I mean, even in their losses, they seem to shoot themselves in the foot. And like I said earlier, either they win in the clutch after starting slow, or they have a sizable lead, but then they end up blowing it or choking in the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes of the game, as we've seen. Whether it be a turnover, whether it be some BS call, by the referees, or whatever have you. And Oakland, they're out. They've got nothing to play for. They're not going to make no kind of playoff spot this year. But the best thing that they can hope for is if they knock out Pittsburgh. And like I said, Pittsburgh, they still got to go up against New England, New Orleans, and the Bengals. But 2 of those games are home games. So we'll see about that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan through and through. But, I mean, if they lose this game, I'm not picking them again for the rest of the damn year. We might as well just go ahead and call it a year. But you guys know how weird the NFL is. You guys know, I mean, anything can happen on any given Sunday. I mean, it's just that Oakland is another one of those teams that's crippled right now. Like, they are not who they used to be. And I know you guys are like, well, I don't know why you fell into the Derek Carr hype, because Derek Carr is overrated. And it seems, that seems to be the case. But I think this game is gonna be close. And this is a critical game for Pittsburgh. But going ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and risk it. Go ahead and give me Pittsburgh in this game by 3 points. 27-24. Flip, who you got? Steelers, Steelers, Raiders.
Look, man, the Steelers had lost when they were ahead by, I think, 16 points at Heinz Field for like a billion years.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting that against a Raiders team that is pretty bad. Your defense is not as bad as the Chiefs. TJ Watt is great. That fourth guy is great.
Yeah.
You guys definitely have some playmakers. Joe Hayden.
But Switzer is out, and Switzer and Connor are both out.
Switzer, Connor, and Hunter are out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to hurt, but I feel like Jalen Samuels and Stephen Ridley can pick up pace there.
Mm-hmm. And we still got that 1-2 punch with Brown and Schuster, so yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a close game for the first half, so don't panic. I think it's going to be a close game for the first half just because your guys are going to have to get used to starting that backfield in absence of Connor. So they may key in on the pass and kind of keep AB and Juju kind of held back for a while, but still like the second half, guys should pull away. Definitely don't have any faith in the Oakland Raiders to beat you guys. I got the Steelers winning this one. I'm going to say 31-6.
Wow. All right. What's the time for you got? Raiders, Steelers.
Steelers can't lose 3 in a row, can they?
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Watch this.
I'll tell you right now, if the Steelers lose to the Raiders, you guys got to fire Mike Tomlin. Yeah, sure.
You think he should be on the hot seat?
Is we guys lose to the Raiders?
Oh, yeah.
He's in the hot seat already.
Yeah.
I think he's already in the hot seat.
Yeah, because him and Big Ben aren't getting along. Yeah.
I don't think they'll fire him after this game, but if you guys lose this game, he's going to David.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's got it. And so at that point, you're vying for his job. The team's not going to quit on him. I don't think the team will quit on him, but who knows? But I'm going to go. I can't imagine them losing this game. The Raiders are arguably the worst team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Next to my favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the emergence of Jared Cook, who's been playing, he's having a really hell of a season for his career. And Derek Carr maybe starting to turn it around a little bit. I don't see them winning. Even though Pittsburgh hasn't really had any sort of success in Oakland, I'm still going to say Pittsburgh in a blowout. I don't think there really be any sort of running back or any sort of running situation in the Oakland Raiders team. I think they can just rely on Ben and that receiving board. the sheer will of they shouldn't lose this game. They can't lose this game. If they lose this game, it's going to be all hell in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to say Pittsburgh will win this game and prolong the chaos for the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a tougher schedule. So give me Pittsburgh in this. I'll say Pittsburgh 28, Oakland 20.
All righty. Next up, NFC East matchup, Philly versus Dallas at Jerry's World. This should be a very, very interesting one because Dallas has gotten their second win, and I don't think they have the same predicament as Pittsburgh does because you guys remember at the beginning of the season they wanted Dak pretty much ran out of Dallas, and all you saw over Twitter was hashtag fire Jason Garrett. Now they're singing a different tune now that they're starting to get a second win, but then again, what do I know? But anyway, Flip, who you got, Philly or Dallas?
I kind of want to. I mean, look.
Yeah, because both teams are getting their second win, so you got to watch this game. You got to watch this game real close.
Yeah, and they're both must wins for both teams because if Dallas loses this game, I think they lose the tiebreaker in division leader against the Eagles, right?
Yeah, they do.
So this is a must win for both teams. Both teams have a really good offense they can roll with, but the Cowboys just have way better defense.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like. But, I mean, they have Zach Ertz. I feel like Zach Ertz is a cheat code.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know.
And Darren Sproles just came back to life.
Yeah, and Darren Sproles came back to life. Josh Adams is doing well as the fill-in back. Alshon, Golden Tate, Nelson Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
They have the offense to keep up with the Cowboys team. And I feel like when it comes to defense, I kind of want to say defenses don't matter in division games in the NFC East. Because I don't know. It just feels like it's always a close game regardless for these teams. I'm gonna have to. I want to go with the Cowboys, but I just have some like weird feeling that they just like Jerry Jones like sacrificed the goat, and now like the repercussions is they have to lose to the Eagles. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles in this game. Close game, 28-27.
All right. What's the time who you got? Cowboys, Eagles.
It would be very anticlimactic if the NFC East was decided a little bit earlier than the last week of the season. In the past, we've been so used to the NFC East always coming down to the last game of the season. So again, it is a tight race. It is still three teams kind of vying for that. That seems to be kind of dead in the water now. So it is really tough for these two teams. It just really could be for that division. This basically is almost essentially the game for the division. Basically,
Pretty much.
It's pretty much a wrap for them, I think. And they've been playing again extremely well. They just came off a terrific win against the Saints. They're at home again. They've been playing extremely well at home. Again, defense is great. Their running situation is terrific. It's just can Dak make a few throws, not making turnovers? Can he do that? Against the Eagles defense, I don't think this Eagles defense. I don't think it's been underperforming from what we were used to. They are dealing with some injuries, especially with State and Mills. But I'm going to give it to the Cowboys again. I'm going to ride the Cowboys. I think they're a dark horse. I think Elliott has a monster game, well over 100 yards. And that's his thing. He manages it pretty well. They don't have to do too much. It's going to be a low scoring effort, I think, again. I'm going to say it'll be 17 to 13 games. Give me the Cowboys in the division.
righty. Now, I have gone back and forth with this game. It's a must win for both teams because, like I said, especially since both teams have kind of got a second win. They're like, okay, we're ready to make that playoff run. Now, whether either of these teams can beat the Rams or the Saints, that remains to be seen. Well, actually, the Cowboys did work against the Saints earlier last week, but it's a different ball game come come playoffs. The playoffs is a whole different animal. It's about just being right now. It's just about being good enough to get there. But yeah, recently the Eagles seem like they want to wake up and be a championship caliber team again. And Flip, you're right about them. You're right about the Cowboys having at this point having the better defense, but is that going to be enough? Are they going to be able to apply the same strategy that they applied against the Raven? I mean, against the Saints, where they kept Drew Brees off the field? I don't think they're going to be able to do that because they have like their running game is. I mean, they might be able to utilize the running game just a little bit more because you see Alvin Kamara coming. Like thing is right now the Eagles have two running backs they can rely on instead of just one, and it's gonna be a shoot. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a really really close one. It seems like Dak and Zeke are clicking, and wow, I mean even let's see, what's his name? He got traded from Oakland to Dallas. Yeah, Amari Cooper. Yeah, and yeah, he's been doing some work. He's been doing a hell of a lot of work. He stepped up in when they didn't have Dez Bryant. So yeah, man, going ahead and get. I mean, I might regret this. Hopefully not. But going ahead and give me Dallas in this game by a touchdown. We'll see. But yeah, I got Dallas by 7 points in this game. All right. Now we got the Sunday night football game against, well, the LA Rams are going on the road against the Chicago Bears. Whew, man. Y'all guys want to predict this one? I mean, well, yeah, we're on the show for a reason. But yeah. Flip, who you got? Rams, Bears.
That was the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah. Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald.
Man, Aaron Donald, man. I wish he was on my team.
Yeah. Like I said, it's almost not even fair to have Aaron Donald and Dominican Sue on your D line. It's almost not fair.
I think I saw a stat that said he's double teamed 70% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still like that's ridiculous, man. That dude is crazy. I really feel like he could be an MVP candidate this year.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm gonna give this to the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Rams. I feel like Khalil Mack can make a difference on that defense. He might give him some problems for a little bit, but I just feel like that Rams offense is very high powered. Sean City is just he's coaching his ass off. And I feel like I want to say Aaron Donald is a better defensive player than Khalil Mack, just because he can get to the. I mean, they both can get to the quarterback. I just feel like he makes those big plays and like the best time. And I don't know, man. It's just the Rams. I feel like they're just too good, man.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them have like some close games in the past few weeks, but this Bears offense is I don't really trust them too much. I mean, outside of Tariq Cohen and maybe Allen Robinson, but Allen Robinson isn't anything special. I just feel like this should be a Rams game. I want to go with the Rams winning this one 35-23.
You got to be in a high scoring game?
From the Rams, yeah.
All right. What's the time for you got? Bears, Rams.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to pick the Rams, especially if it's like Chase Daniel going and not Trubisky. I think the Rams with their offense, even with Fred and Khalil Mack, I think they put up some points and the Bears have to take from behind and I don't trust Chase Daniel in that spot. If the Rams sort of which play, any sort of quick plays. I just think they throw a lot up there. If you're Vincent's playing, I think it's a little bit closer, but I think it's still, I'm still going to say it's the Rams are just a class ahead of the Bears. The Bears, like I said, they're watching Giants. The game should have been a little bit more of a bigger lead blowout than it was. Turning on overtime. I just think the Bears are just a class below the Rams. Give me the Rams in this game. I think the Rams 30, Bears 20.
Oh man, this is gonna be another one of those. Whoever has the better running game is gonna win. I mean, because we both know that Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald are pretty much gonna be trying to rip the quarterback's head off all night long, which means that they're not gonna have enough time to air the ball out, which means both of them are gonna be heavily reliant on the running game. If you ask me at this point, the Rams have a better running game than the Chicago Bears do. Man, it's like I said, this might potentially be a dogfight. This might be one of those slow, grounded pound, grinded out type of games. I mean, it might not be pretty, but still, it's gonna it might just work in the favor of one team. Man, I got this being closer than you guys do, but still, this is the hat trick. Go on ahead and give me the Rams this game, but only by 6 points, 2 field goals. Yeah, 30-24, Rams. Last game. Oh man, this is a potential game of the week right here. We got the Minnesota Vikings going on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. Flip, who you got? Vikings, Seahawks.
I don't know, man.
Because the Seattle Seahawks are tricky. They are very, very sneaky. They're like, well, yeah, you guys can, overlook us if you want, but we're dangerous when we want to be. And Minnesota, they're coming off of a loss to the Patriots. But yeah, I mean, Seattle's a very, very tricky team. But I mean, go on. What were you saying?
Look, if Pete Carroll isn't coaching the Seahawks team, I feel like Seahawks would be like 2-14 this season. I feel like him sticking to his balanced offense and kind of going heavy rush is kind of messing with these teams' heads.
Pete Carroll takes a lot of risks too. He takes a lot of risks too, but they pay off.
Yeah, because it really seems like it seems like on paper the Seahawks team should lose. It's like they're really run oriented, and then out of nowhere, Tyler Lockett 50-yard touchdown or Doug Baldwin 30-yard touchdown. It's just like, where'd that come from? You got the running ball.
Yeah.
And so the Vikings, if they fall behind, they're kind of they ditch the run and they stick to pass. The Seahawks defense isn't that bad. They can cause you some trouble in the secondary. Yeah, man, it's a weird game because it's the Seahawks, so you can't count them out. They always somehow find a way to win a game. Man, I want to lean towards the Vikings. I feel like they can win this game, but Kirk Cousins, I don't know, man, he's weird. So I'm gonna go with it being a close game. I'm gonna say the Vikings pulled out in a very close game. I'd say like a field goal. Vikings maybe 27 points.
All right. Volatile, who you got? Vikings, Seahawks.
Yeah, Seattle's at home. On paper, I think the receiving edge for the Vikings, defensively also as well, the Vikings, but
That running, yeah.
In terms of how they've been playing, though, defense has been playing pretty well, and they've been running the ball really well. And Russell Wilson is having a really, really good year, actually. The man literally only completed only 4 passes against the Niners in the first half, and 3 of them were touchdowns. And he just doesn't really need to do much for that team to get a little bit of success. The Vikings have been a little bit underperforming. That Patriots game was a little interesting. I to throw it deep. I mean, Kirk Cousins was going to throw it, kept thinking and dunking, and he wasn't able to capitalize and take advantage of it. I definitely like the Seahawks defense more than the Patriots. I don't think they can really survive and compete against the Seahawks doing that. Yeah, you're right. They don't. The Vikings don't really run as well as you think they would. Given Dalvin Cook and Murray, I don't like this Vikings team. And I'm worried because Cousins, we thought was going to be Cousins I thought was a good free agent signing. I thought it was definitely a little bit of an upgrade over Case Keenum, but given that they're points in the season, I'm not sure, if Cousins, if that big contract Cousins is worth it. If this is what the Vikings look like. I don't know. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, I give the quarterback hedge in favor of them. Russell Wilson, he's playing really, really well, and he's leading the team. And the Seahawks they're definitely in it in the playoff picture. And they can definitely. I mean, if the Seahawks pick the playoffs, it's anyone's game at that point.
Oh yeah.
They're definitely a scary team. They're definitely a scary team just with the experience, even with the players they've lost over the years. I think this is a pretty easy game for the Seahawks in this matchup. At home, I think I like the Seahawks by a touchdown. Give me a Seahawks 29, Vikings 22.
All righty. Like I said, I've tossed and turned about this game. Like I said, the Seahawks are a very sneaky team. Minnesota, like they got all the weapons in the world, especially with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he's integrated himself pretty well into that Minnesota system. And Pete Carroll for the Seahawks, that man's a risk taker. But thing is, it seems like, I mean, he's somebody who's not afraid to go for it on fourth down. But hopefully, he won't see that many fourth down situations since they're at home. Man, like I said, like you guys said, Minnesota at this point they have a slightly better defense, but it's like Seattle. I think they have a better ground game and a better quarterback. I mean, Russell Wilson to me is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins is. Not taking anything away from Kirk Cousins, but keys to victory. Seattle, they're going to have the West Coast style offense. They're going to have short runs, and then if they air the ball out, he's going to have to throw the ball 30 yards plus outside the line of scrimmage. Run and gun. Minnesota, they're going to have to play the opposite. They're going to have that slow grind. They're going to have to, they're going to have, throw a lot of screen passes. They have a lot of trickery. They're going to have to, throw a lot of short little slant passes and then get, eat up small chunks of yardage and, just play the game slow. Who's better? Who I think will be better at implementing the strategy? I think the Seahawks will, especially since they're at home. I got this somewhat of a high-scoring game. Go ahead and, just to be on the safe side, go ahead and give me the Seahawks in this game, 34-24. All right, fellas. Any last words, any final thoughts or comments before we sign out tonight? One last look at the playoff picture.
I'm really impressed with this playoff picture. It's looking like it's going to come down to the wire for both divisions, or both conferences this year.
Oh, yeah.
And a few of these spots. That's kind of what we always hope for, just to kind of keep things alive, just in case your team isn't for a playoff spot.
But those fifth and sixth seeds are tricky. Like those fifth and sixth seeds in the AFC and NFC are very, very tricky.
Yeah, 100%. So good luck to the Steelers. I do hope they win, and I hope the Ravens win too. So that's going to be kind of a double-edged sword for you guys. But
yeah, I hate seeing the Ravens 3 times a year.
But yeah, man. Good luck to the Steelers. I hope the Ravens beat the Chiefs so that the Chargers can have a Week 15 matchup on Thursday. That's pretty entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And the 49ers are going to beat who are they playing again? I forgot. Some relevant team that they're going to beat real quick. Some relevant team they'll beat. Oh yeah, Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos. So the 49ers are going to beat them. So yeah.
Wow. All right, Watch Time. Any final thoughts?
Nah, just hopefully there's a little bit of a correction now. Obviously last week was a little bit disappointing. Some teams that were I was pretty confident in, and now they're successful. Hopefully then also, well, he's not. If he's the NFC, I think it's pretty much set with New Orleans and Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
But in the AFC, I think maybe we'll have a nice good idea. I do think that the NFC is a little bit tighter in the playoff spots than the AFC. I'm just looking at it, and then you got the Eagles and Redskins, and the Panthers, all at 6-6, and potentially I could see any one of those teams, maybe leapfrogging Minnesota.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, shoot, Tampa's really only Tampa's only 2 games back. That's crazy as it is, but I think I'll hopefully do some corrections. I think the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're potentially could get up to a 3 seed if Chicago continues to fly. Again, Chicago's got a tough matchup against the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
If Dallas wins again, Dallas might get a 3 seed. That might be the future. So, they give a change. Like I said, they're calling for Jason Garrett to be fired. Now there might be a potential 3 seed. So,
yeah, my final thoughts on this, on before we sign out here, are my Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the odds of them winning out are very, very slim, especially with the level of competition they got to face. But as you guys know, the Steelers always play to their level of competition. Because riddle me this: what if the Steelers lose to the Raiders, but beat the Patriots and the Saints? How weird would that be? That's what I mean by the Steelers are weird, because, like I said, they pretty much blew out the Chiefs. I mean, they blew out the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Also, another weird thing: how weird would it be if they were to get swept by the AFC West but sweep the NFC South? That would be the most hilarious thing ever in football history that I've ever seen in my life. That would be some funny shit to see. But like I said, any given Sunday, you never really know. But anywho, that's pretty much my thoughts for tonight. Also, for people watching on Facebook and YouTube, thank you guys for watching this week. We appreciate the views. And as always, for my boys, Flipside and Watertop, thank you, fellas. I like it's a pleasure having you guys on here every week to host the show with me. I appreciate you guys.
No problem. Thanks for having us on every week. This is pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having us on, man. It's always a good one. It's definitely ran. It's definitely one of the longer ones we've done so far, but
yeah,
it's definitely enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
It's a 2-hour show. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.